Evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to slightly earlier than usual, but a build up in preparation to tonight's Champions League and Thursday's Europa League. And as you can see, we've got Will sporting a very average garment. Arsenal obviously in action tomorrow. He's very excited, as you can see. And you've got Mark sporting a garment who we are very proud of. We are looking very much forward to this. And I've come WWE vibes, so it's fine. I apologise in advance. My booster Wi-Fi connector isn't working at the moment, so if I drop out, I'm sure these two gentlemen will be able to carry the ship, as it were. But first of all, Will, how are you? Nervous? Excited?
There we go. No, to be honest, I'm doing good. I am excited, a little bit nervous. Don't get me wrong. You can't have full confidence going in to face Real Madrid at their home stadium, but no, I'm looking forward to the game. Like I was a lot more calm last week before it was the first leg, and I was like, whatever happens, happens. Then got a result beyond the wildest of dreams that we could have hoped for, and yeah, let's see what tomorrow brings. Can't see us losing by 4 goals, but stranger things have happened.
Absolutely, yeah. It was a brilliant second half performance by Arsenal last week. Credit where credit is due, and two amazing goals by Declan Rice. Mark, obviously, we discussed United on Sunday, Saturday evening, more like. Yeah, how are you after a dreadful performance on Sunday, as expected? But yeah, going into Europe this week, what are your feelings?
Everything sort of came as we sort of predicted, except the rumours of a punch up in the dressing room, but there's nothing wrong with one of them. Yeah, I'm looking forward to all the games. Tonight's games tomorrow and then ours on Thursday. That's what football's all about, isn't it? When it becomes a knockout, you can't help but, like, as Will just said, 3-0 up, and you're going, yeah, but it's the Bernabeu. It's Real Madrid. And they've done City and they've done Chelsea at home from them having commanding leads. So, Villa, they're up against PSG, Rashford's favourite team to score goals against in Europe. So there's many way things could go.
Yeah, I think it is going to be a very, very interesting few days. A lot can happen. With the aggregate scores going into it, let's bring up tonight's games first of all. See how this works. Bear with me. There it is.
That's why I get travel sick.
Yeah, my bad. Let me just put. There we go. So, right, let's start with tonight's games. Why is my mouse? That's really annoying, isn't it? Anyway, tonight's games. There we go. Slide it away. Oh, it doesn't even do that. There we go. Tonight's games, obviously, we've got Aston Villa against PSG, 8 o'clock. PSG obviously leading 3-1 on aggregate. Quite a decent account from Aston Villa in the first game, Will. What did you make of the first game if you saw it?
Yeah, no, I watched it all right. I thought Villa did well. They were doing well containing them. Got the goal to go 1-0 up, and it was looking good for them. But then, like, PSG were just kind of keeping their foot on the gas, really controlling the game. I was actually very impressed still again with PSG, the same way I was when they were playing against Liverpool. But, they're a good team. I'd expect PSG still to go through, but Aston Villa will get chances to score. I'm not fully gone on Donnarumma. I think he actually has a nice few mistakes in him, or even just not even full mistakes, like half mistakes with where he can parry the ball or little goalkeeping mistakes. I feel like you can get him and he might concede a sloppy goal, which might make things interesting if Aston Villa get there first.
Yeah, no, I agree. And obviously going 1-0 up at Paris, Mark, obviously would have given a little bit of confidence, but for PSG to come back pretty soon after would have hurt a little bit. But Unai Emery, at the end of the day, he's a master in Europe.
Yeah, there aren't, to be fair, apart from Ancelotti, like in recent years, he's probably the best European manager with his record. PSG. They're not the PSG we've known for probably the last 10, 15, 20 years. This is a totally different PSG now. No real superstars up front. They're more of a cohesive team unit. And I think that's what we saw against Liverpool and so far coming back against Villa. But Villa have more goals in them than what they showed. You can certainly, as Will said, Donnarumma, if you hit anything hard and low around his feet, he's too tall to get down to him. So he tends to like kick it out. And that's like you say, you can easily get in a rebound or something off a block shot. But their defence is also, it's not the best. Hakimi is hit and miss on the right if he's even playing. And their centre-backs, I don't think are as good as what a lot of people rate them. What is it, Marquinhos and someone else, most likely.
Yeah.
So Villa are at home. I think they've got everything to go for. I can see them not conceding, but can they score the 3 goals, which will put them through cleanly? I don't know. I think they could get to extra time. I think they could win it 2-0 at home. Yeah,
it's not a bad shout at all, really. With it being at home, Will, you've got to understand. I mean, we've got to realise that the atmosphere that I felt through the TV when watching them against Bayern Munich, you could feel it early on in the campaign. But that's going to be a real sort of 12th man sort of thing for Aston Villa tonight, isn't it? The crowd at Villa Park.
Oh, no doubt that it'll definitely help kick them on. Well, it's just the way that Unai Emery teams play. I feel like, and the way PSG play, PSG are just going to get on the ball a bit more. So I feel like there is a chance that they could just take the crowd out of it, just in the way that the tactics of the games could go. That I don't know. Like, it will be rampant for the first 10 minutes and 15 minutes that they will have to get through. But I think just with the styles of play of the two teams, I think eventually PSG will just about take the sting out of the game and just play around. But look, if Villa do go 1-0 up, it'll be interesting. And Rashford is leading the line anyway, because I was just looking at their team quickly there. It's interesting. You got Rashford up top and then Rodgers, Tielemans and McGinn behind them. So they're really packing out the midfield type balance there.
Yeah, let's quickly bring that up while you're saying that.
Yeah, I'm surprised you're not starting the line-up, if I'm honest. It's not what I would have gone for.
So here are the lineups. Starting 11, obviously, Martinez in goal, Cash, Konsa, Torres, Digne, Kamara, Onana, Rodgers, Tielemans, McGinn and Rashford. PSG, not many changes as far as I can work out from the last game for PSG. But on the Villa team, Mark, you just said there, not what you were expecting. What was you expecting in that respect?
Personally, I think the way to get at PSG, I would have had Watkins up front, and I would have had Rashford and, say, I don't know, Bailey. Go with more pace, counter-attacking, let their legs go. And that might be what he goes for second half. Like you say, try and keep it tight now. I'm guessing Marlon's cup-tied, because he's not injured, is he? The one they got from Dortmund. I can't see him on the bench.
Yeah, he's not on the bench, so I would assume he's cup-tied, yeah.
He must have been cup-tied, because I would have had him on the right and Rashford on the left with Watkins. Or even, they could go with a front three of real pace if they wanted. So it's there for the second half. But is he really starting Rashford over Watkins in the centre?
Yeah, and also the use of McGinn in that. I mean, obviously, this is what the position, the formation that obviously this particular website has put out. So it may not shape up like this. But if we're going on this per se, using McGinn in that position, you would have imagined you would have put Rashford in that position, moved McGinn back, and probably had Marco Asensio instead of Tielemans, and then Watkins up front. That probably would have been my guess.
Yeah, because they're not fast up front. PSG, really, they got Dembele. They're more tricky than they are speed demons. Do you know what I mean now? So I can see them sitting deep and maybe pinging them over the top for Rashford to run onto. But you need someone to follow it up, and there's no legs in McGinn. There's no legs in Tielemans. So it's just Morgan Rodgers.
And even then, what you'd say is they don't even have the height, really. Onana's the only really, really tall one that even if they ping it up from the top, if Marquinhos is going in, then it's getting the second ball. Like, you'd imagine
Yeah.
Marquinhos will win that first ball every time.
Yeah, especially
And
against
even
Rashford, where he won't jump for a header. He won't take a physical challenge because he always
no.
protects his shoulder.
And if you're going in on a one-on-one run-in with Donnarumma, you can guarantee Donnarumma's probably going to be the keeper to win that. He may not be the greatest shot stopper in the world or the best like goalkeeper, but one-on-ones running with the ball, you're not really getting past him in that respect.
No, he's up there with Courtois. His size and the speed he comes out with, you try and move it around him, he can just stretch and take it off you. So
yeah, but yeah, I would have done that. I probably would have definitely had Asensio starting and Watkins at the middle. But there we go.
Even Ramsey, he can
Jacob
motor
Ramsey.
as well. That's what I mean. That whole bench is pace. So he's certainly changed. Got two different formations there. Maybe that's the only thing I think he might have done.
In respect to PSG, well, obviously PSG at one point were just a team of mercenaries, money, glory, just absolute superstars that never really gelled. This is probably, in my opinion, the first time in the Champions League season we've seen PSG as an actual unit, as an actual team that could genuinely win this.
Yeah, to be honest, like watching PSG this year, and it's funny because we played them in the group stage and just absolutely like dominated them, and they looked like the old PSG. But then since January, since they signed their number 7, I'm not going to say his full name.
Nor can we.
No, but ever since they signed him, it's just there's something about him that brings the rest of the team together. It's just made the attacking line more nervous, drops other teams back, which has then given the midfield more time on the ball and not putting as much pressure on the back line. And their team as a unit just looks solid. And honestly, since they've signed him, any game I've seen him, he just makes me nervous.
Yeah.
And I'm not even watching as an opposing team. So, like, if we do get him in the semi-final, he'd be the one that I'd be absolutely terrified of, that he could ruin any team on his day.
Yeah, he was my number one pick to replace Rashford when he was still at Napoli. And it was like, seeing him go to PSG for the money, I was like, no, don't do it, because they're crap.
Yeah.
And you're right, he isn't. He's glued them together. Bringing João Neves as well.
Yeah,
they obviously brought in. It's with is it Vitinha?
Vitinha in the middle.
Those two, very, very good understanding. Obviously, both Portuguese holding midfielders. So,
no, right, gents, score predictions, and I think what we're going to do is we're going to do score predictions on every game, not to qualify, just the games, and then I'm going to put a £1 free bet on tonight, and if we win, all the money will go to a charity of our choosing. How about that?
Is that the pub around the corner?
No, genuinely. Obviously, it's every game we're doing a prediction on, so it's going to be long on, so we'll see. But yeah, so on that starting 11, what are we thinking for Villa versus PSG? Just the score on the night, please, Mark.
2-0 Villa. I'm actually quite comfortable on that as well.
Right, Will, score on the night?
For some reason, I think it'll just be like 1-1.
1-1 night, so PSG to go through, yeah?
Yeah.
I'm going to go, because obviously now we've got a draw in that respect. I'm going to go for a 1-0 Villa. So I'm going to put 1-0. I'm going to put Villa right now. They're currently priced to win the game at 2-1. Please gamble responsibly. Right. On to our next game, and we won't spend much time on this one because I personally don't know much about it. But obviously, Barcelona leading into the second leg against Dortmund, 4-0 up. Mark, what have you made of the resurgence of Barcelona in the Champions League against the sort of deterioration of Borussia Dortmund this year in the Champions League?
Well, Dortmund have just sold everyone that was really crucial to them, in my opinion. But Barcelona, I didn't see this coming. They really have come back together to bring in people like tonight. They've got Szczesny in goal. Al Szczesny's got to be pushing 40. But their front sort of five is just unstoppable. It is one of the best probably in world football. Again, how many times you said that about Barcelona or Real Madrid should have this, as we'll get onto. But Yamal, Gavi, Rafinha does a job for him. I don't rate him personally as a player, but he does a great job. And they've got all the youngsters on the bench, Pedri and that other one, is it Garcia or someone like that? They're superb. Their movement, it's just what we used to see maybe 10 years ago. I'm not saying it's on the quality of Messi, Iniesta, Xavi, Busquets.
Yeah.
It's up there. Lewandowski, just do your job, get in the box and score a goal.
Yeah. It's just back to basics football, isn't it? It's back to basics. Just do what your position is told to do.
Yeah.
And we'll take care of the rest sort of thing. Like Szczesny, not the best goalkeeper going forward, like attacking wise, but he's a good goalkeeper. He's a good shot stopper. Even at his age, I mean, he's got to be pushing like mid-30s at this point, unless I've overaged him. I do apologise.
Second choice, isn't he? He's still second choice.
Yeah.
But what they signed Christensen from, you think they haven't actually signed that many superstars, but were young. They've gone for experience.
Mm.
They've gone for some experienced players, and their bench sort of shows that as well. Who's on? Christensen being on the bench. Then they got Fatty, who was on loan at Brighton, done nothing special, but he was a good youngster. Different game, different scenarios in Europe, isn't it? What the ref will give in Spanish football, European football, or Premier League football for the same tackle, it's ridiculous, and so it just suits some teams.
Yeah, well, are we giving Dortmund any sort of chance in this to potentially probably win on the night, but probably not to qualify, right? 4-0 down from the first leg.
I wouldn't even give him a chance to win on the night. I could see it be another 2, 3, 4. What about you, Will?
I think he might have lost connection. Either that or he's doing a really good impression.
One hell of a striking a pose there, Will, mate, if you are there.
Yeah, I won't bring it up because it's probably... Yeah, there we go. Go on. You answer the question. Oh, no, he's back. Yeah.
He's back.
Here he is.
There we go. Back and better than ever. No, I won't give Dortmund any chance the same way like of the first leg. Once they lost Schlotterbeck in the centre-back, that was their only hope to even keep Barcelona down to a little bit. He was their best defender this year, and when he went, they've got no hope, to be honest. Their team just isn't as good as Barcelona's, and even if they come out and attack Barcelona now, they'll just get picked off, and Barcelona could just easily do them again now.
Yeah. So, score on the night, what are we going for? Go on, Mark.
3-0 Barcelona.
So you're saying 7-0 on aggregate?
Yeah, I can't see Dortmund scoring, and I think if 3 is at a canter. I don't think they'll even get out of third gear. I can see them scoring 3 goals. Because as Will just said, Dortmund have got to go for them. And then that counter-attack, like I say, that front 5, couple of passes down the pitch and put the ball in the box for Lewandowski. I'll tell you what, 3-0 Lewandowski hat-trick.
Okay. Go on, Will.
You know what? I was thinking more too, but I'll go 3-0 as well. I think I won't go as far as to say Lewandowski hat trick. I know he may not rate him, but I think Rafinha's going to score again. And at this rate, I think he's like the joint top goal scorer in the Champions League this season. Yeah. He's on his way for the Golden Boot, so I think Rafinha will just pick up a couple more, and they'll win 3-0.
Barcelona scored a lot of goals in the Champions League this season against teams. That's the thing.
Yeah, Barcelona to win 4-5. Again, please gamble responsibly. Right. Let's now move on to... it's not really... Where are we?
We're doing Newcastle Palace tomorrow.
Yeah. Let's gloss over. Come on. Where are you? Boom. Right, let's start with Inter Milan, Bayern Munich. No, let's get Inter Milan, Bayern Munich out of the way very quickly, shall we? Obviously, Milan, not a surprise to many to be 2-1 up after the first leg. Inter Milan have been sort of what's the word, sort of a ghost team this year, but have been playing really good football. Mark, what do you expect from Inter per se?
Well, you just sort of said it. Like they're a ghost team. So last year they were a dark horse. So they're a dark horse again this year to still be going just as strong in the Champions League
Yeah,
when they just sneak under everyone else. Like on paper, before last week's game, you go Bayern Munich probably win that, and they're 2-1 down currently.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know. It's a hard one to call. I can see Munich scoring a couple, but it's at Inter. They're going to defend, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah. To lose 2-1 at home, will in Bayern's respect, obviously that's going to hurt. And Harry Kane, even though he hasn't had a terrible season, he's had a bit of a goal drought recently. He hasn't really done much in the last few games, but that's not poo-pooing him. He's actually, like, I think he's pretty much Bundesliga's top goal scorer by a country mile. Could be wrong. I do apologise if I am, but what can you see from Bayern's point of view trying to get anything out of this game? It's going to have to be all flow and attacking, really.
Yeah, to be honest, it's the one I wouldn't have the best knowledge on this one, but the one thing I know about Inter Milan is they just don't give you chances. They're so solid defensively. Their games can almost seem boring, but that's
Yeah.
just because of how good a shape that they have. And then they'll just wait and they'll hold out. And they'll probably pull a goal then in like near the end of the game that'll just kill Bayern Munich. I can't see Bayern Munich scoring for some reason, even though they have these great attackers. There's just something in that Inter Milan defense that is just rock solid.
Yeah, and there's every chance, Mark, like you said, that Inter Milan are just going to sit back and defend and catch Bayern on the break.
Well, as Will just said, Inter Milan, great defending. They can make any goalkeeper look amazing. Let's be honest, and then some idiots go and buy that goalkeeper. But
Yeah,
it's. I can see Bayern scoring, but will Inter Milan score again before that? I say 2-1 again. 2-1 again in that game. To Inter.
yeah, I would probably agree. I like Inter. Oh, here we go. Jonathan's got an input. Evening, Jonathan. Bayern Munich are such a boring team. I don't know why any player would sign for him. Farmers League. Interesting. I'll let Will come in on that one. What do you say to Jonathan, apart from good evening?
No, to be fair, we don't keep an eye on the German league that much at all. Like, I understand him going to Bayern Munich because it was like he needed to go to a bigger club than Tottenham. He needed to challenge himself at a higher level, which Bayern Munich is a higher level. They're going to be in the Champions League this far, yet they're in the quarterfinals now, and just see how he goes. Get that couple of years. He is going to get his trophies this year, and then maybe come back to an English team once he has a few successful ones. Again, I don't keep an eye much on the Bundesliga. I watched a few games when it was on during COVID, but
Yeah,
yeah.
that's because that was the first league. That was the first league to come back when it. So everyone was like, "Thank God." Mark, can you draw? I mean, going on Jonathan's comment there, can you draw any similarities to if Kane did stay at Tottenham? Can you draw similarities to maybe Bruno Fernandes at United? Because if Harry Kane doesn't leave and doesn't go to Bayern Munich and then finish his career with no trophies, can you sort of draw a similarity to Bruno Fernandes maybe now staying at United for the duration and not winning any trophies?
Yeah, pretty much, and a lot of other players. It is a farmers' league, but so is Portugal, so is France, so was Italy 4 years ago. They've sort of had a resurgence over there. So everything comes and goes in swings. But like you said, Dortmund's dropped off. Bayern, one of their other best players is a Palace player, or was a Palace player. So what does that say? I know Palace aren't exactly bad. Should have beaten City at the weekend, but we were robbed. But yeah, it's. So what was it? 3 years ago, Harry Kane scored almost as many goals in the Premier League as he scored now in the. It was before Haaland came in, wasn't it? He had a really good season, and he's got older. So that shows you the drop off because he wasn't capable of doing it. You know, his drop off in the Premier League got him his move. He scores a lot more goals, but he is playing against Farmers teams. But so's Mbappe, and then he's gone to Real Madrid.
Red carded at the weekend as well.
Yeah, so yeah, and it is. It's swings and roundabouts. Bruno can come in, and he's looked good at United. You'd expect him to run one of these other leagues, wouldn't he? You put him in. I can't see him going to Germany. You put him in La Liga, in one of those top two teams. He should be scoring goals every week. He's got the legs for it, getting up and down the pitch, and you don't get tackled.
Yeah.
That's the main thing people don't realise. You don't get tackled in any league outside of the Premier League. There's no real proper tackles going in.
No, and any tackle in Spanish football is deemed a free kick immediately, not any jurisdiction over it. Will, I'm going to pose this question to you that Jonathan has just popped in there. What's a bigger achievement, winning the Bundesliga or being the Premier League's top goal scorer? I would argue Premier League top goal scorer has more legacy for an Englishman.
I mean, would it have more legacy? Yeah. But at the same time, I think you don't care about the individual records. You want some team records. Like, he will want a few medals. You know, at the end of the year, what you want, put your medals on the table, show us what you've got. You know, that's how you value success, not this one trophy to say, yeah, I was the best individual player, but I've spent my entire career at a shit club that can't win anything, let alone the Carabao Cup, while I was there, you know? What would that say about him as a leader as well if he stayed his whole career at that club and didn't manage to drive them to success? It actually brings down his achievements even more. You know?
Yeah.
It's not just him, is it? It's not just him who's finished top goal scorer in like a different league and can't do anything in, you know, Tottenham, top goal scorer. That's an achievement. Yeah, to win the Golden Boot in the Premier League for Tottenham is an achievement. Whereas Haaland winning it for Man City is not an achievement. Yeah. So it's relevant to what club you're at, to whether how big that achievement is.
But then from our point of view, from my point of view personally, I agree with Will. If you're going to sit at the top table as someone that's going to say, right, let's say a Premier League top 11 of combined Premier League clubs, Harry Kane's not going in mine because he didn't win anything.
No, but okay, put it another way. Elise was after, but Chelsea, Man United, Arsenal, everyone were after him. He went to Bayern Munich to win trophies.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it doesn't matter where you are. That piece of paper says, I won this many trophies.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what it is. You want to be able to hold something. I won that, and that. Yeah, but it's a shit league. Mate, I was there. I've got to beat the teams in front of me, and I won it.
Yeah. No, I think we know, Jonathan. But the thing is, I agree with what he's saying. Like, it's a legacy thing, and obviously Alan Shearer's dined out on that for the past God knows how many years. You know, it's mentioned in every single broadcast he's ever on. But you ask Alan Shearer whether he ever regrets not signing for United. He's going to regret
Alan Shearer or Haaland in his prime.
What?
Right now, in this league. And that's the thing. People you can't do these comparisons all time because leagues were different. You know,
you're probably choosing Haaland in his prime in this day and age.
Because Shearer wouldn't be able to keep up with the speed. And he knows that himself. It's the speed of the game has changed.
Will's looking perplexed. Go on. What do you reckon?
No. It would be a bit closer. It would be a bit closer than said and done because Haaland does have a lot more to go. But I'd agree there are many players that you just put ahead of Alan Shearer, and you've asked, and as you said, if you ask him, would he wish they got rid of that for a couple of Premier Leagues? Inwardly, I think he'd say yes.
All right. Personally, like Mark, I'll ask you the question: are you going to choose the Premier League's all-time goal scorer, Alan Shearer, or are you going to choose probably one of the best players in the Premier League ever in Thierry Henry? I know you've got a bias, but you know Thierry had everything.
Yeah. To be honest, like Thierry Henry was one of the best players, the best player that I've seen in the Premier League in terms of how he done things. Like, I would just choose him and his accomplishments any day over an overall great goal scorer in Alan Shearer. There are other players as well. Like, you don't even have to go that high. Like, if I said Ruud van Nistelrooy or Alan Shearer, Ruud was only in there a couple of seasons, but he won a couple of Premier Leagues and was a great goal scorer.
I'm glad you said that, Will, because me and Nathan done best 11, and he was one of my strikers. He's like, really? No Rooney? And I'm like, this guy scores goals. You give him that many chances, he scores goals. So it's relevant to not who you support. There's plenty of players. I think Andy Cole would have, if he played as many games for Man United as Alan Shearer played in the Premier League, he probably scores just as many goals. It's just relevant to where you start your career and how many times you played at the top. And whether you had a good strike partner with you, one who took goals or whether he gave you goals.
Yeah, I can see a show idea brewing already. So we'll park that for the next time us three are on, and we'll do a Alan Shearer versus whoever, and we'll make a show around that. I like that. But right, so back on to point. Inter Milan, Bayern Munich. Mark, score prediction on the night, please.
I think 2-1 Inter. And I don't know. I couldn't give you any reasons why. That's my gut.
Will?
I'll go Born 1-0 Inter Milan.
All right, perfect. We'll add that on.
I could go for 15 yellow cards. It's sort of going to be one of those games, isn't it? That's what I can see. Every Inter Milan player booked and their subs.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, it's going to be a feisty old game. Inter Milan are going to be playing some real dirty football.
And time waste.
Yeah, absolutely. To the moment that Will's definitely been waiting for. Real Madrid, Arsenal tomorrow, 8 p.m. Arsenal after there's no way of saying it. A brilliant second half performance at the Emirates. Declan Rice pulling out probably some of the best Champions League free kicks, especially in recent history. But let's go straight to the man taunting the Real Madrid shirt and say, what do you think, Mark, in tomorrow's match?
I think first leg, Madrid were absolutely appalling. Arsenal played them off the park, but you could see a real disconnect between Vinicius Junior and Mbappe. Both wanted to be the superstar in that show. They weren't linking up at all. Mm-hmm. Rice's free kicks were probably the best free kicks I've seen since Roberto Carlos's one against France and David Beckham's. They were just so top drawer. Like to hit that ball, no one thought he could do it a second time, and he went and done it. I think the third one is the killer. I reckon if you went there 2-0, you'd probably be shitting it. 3-0 is a big difference. They got to score 4. I know they're capable of scoring 4. It's just whether they want to play as a team or not. Courtois was superb. For me, man of the match, because Arsenal could have had 6. So, yeah, there's not much I can say apart from I thought Real Madrid were that poor. Nothing to take away from what Arsenal did. They just didn't link up. They looked like it wasn't flowing football. It was really taken apart. But Partey played a massive part in that as well, cutting out all the passing lanes.
Yeah. Well, what do you... you said you were nervous going into this game. What do you expect going to the Bernabeu?
To be honest, I expect the atmosphere to be something that I won't have seen really in a long time, if ever, at the Bernabeu. So it'll be interesting. But then it's just on us just to try and get a hold of the ball and just try and take the sting out of the game. Like, when you're looking at the game, it'll be interesting to see. You just get through those first 10 minutes or so and just try and take them out of it. I'll be interested to see their lineup situation, because I have no doubt that last week when they played the 4 attackers, it was not good enough. Like, they didn't have enough legs, especially with Modric in behind them. Like, they could not keep up with our midfield in the legs. And now, because they were going to have to go out and attack, it'll probably be similar, that you'll have the 4 attackers and you'll have Modric behind it, because
back player. I was going to whip it, put an extra player on the end of the wall.
To be fair, that was definitely a mistake by Courtois, only having 4 in that wall. You needed a 5th. The one thing I'll say about the Emirates is it's funny how many, not iconic, but how many class free kicks have been scored there. If you can count 2 of them in Declan Rice and then compare it I think, when was it? 09 as well. You had Ronaldo's free kick in the Emirates from 30, 35 yards out. When you compare him, some load of good free kicks at the Emirates now.
But tomorrow's game, I can see Madrid winning 4-0, and I could see Arsenal winning and not conceding as well, because that's the kind of Madrid there's been this season. Obviously, I follow them a lot, and they are so hit and miss.
Do we have any early team news? Yeah, do we have any early team news or injuries that you know of, Will, or is it all?
Nah, like nearly everyone is fine. The only injury for us is Jorginho hasn't travelled, but that won't make much of a difference in terms of our lineups. Partey looked a bit sore, but he's travelled, so I can imagine he'll be playing. Other than that, I'd expect it to be the same team as started last week, and you just kind of kick on then.
It was interesting, Tierney starting. So obviously, I was looking at your how you started against Brentford. Obviously, you brought Tierney in, and rested Timber, Skelly, Odegaard. It's like they're not messing around. Being even at 3-0 up, they're not going to mess around. They rested players, and it will be interesting. It'll be really interesting. Sometimes that goes against you.
It can go against us, but I think you've just got to keep the freshness in their legs. The way that all our injuries have been bloody hamstring injuries, you don't want to tempt the beast just beforehand. And I think that they still gave enough of the players enough minutes so that they're still warm enough, ready to go at Madrid. Well, look, we'll see tomorrow in the first 10 minutes, and no, it should be a good game. It's definitely going to be a spectacle, but hopefully not for the wrong reasons for me.
Yeah. So, scores on the nights. Let's go, Will, first of all, please.
I'm
head over heart or heart over head?
I'm going to say we'll go through, but I'm going to say we're going to lose. I'm going to actually say a 2-1 Real Madrid win. I think we'll go 1-0 up, which will kind of seal it. And then they'll come a rally, get 2 kind of quick goals quick, where they go, "Ooh, is this the start of it?" And then we'll just shut down any of the rest of the chances.
Okay. And Mark, what do you think?
Well, my thoughts have just changed because I've literally just looked at the weather for tomorrow night in Madrid, and it's meant to be raining and worse than it is here in England. So I originally thought 4-0. I could see them coming back. I thought it's just going to be one of those Madrid nights. They do it because I can't ever back against them, but that weather could change it. If it was humid and things like that on a Madrid night, like you say, it's going to be hell.
The one thing you will say is they will have the stadium roof closed for the entire game, so you won't have the rain on the pitch, so the rain won't happen as much.
No, but the humidity in that will go up sky high. So there's that to take into account. And but let's be fair, in this day and age, it's not like players aren't used to that constantly. It's not like we're taking English players there, is it? Everyone's from all around the world. Yeah, I'm going 4-0.
4-0 Real Madrid.
Yeah.
I'm going to agree. I'm going to say Real Madrid are going to win, but I do think that Arsenal are going to go through by the skin of their teeth. So I'm going to put Real Madrid on there.
I would say the only result I don't want to see is a 3-0 win to Madrid.
Yeah, we don't really want...
Please, no penalties. No penalties, no extra time, can't handle it.
Yeah.
Right. Right, I suppose we better talk. Let's talk very quickly about Tottenham because I don't really care. I hate Ange Postecoglou. I think he's an arrogant arsehole who thinks he's a big man, who's won title after title, but he's an idiot. But right, Mark, what do you expect from Eintracht Frankfurt versus Tottenham Hotspur?
That is a good side. That Frankfurt side is a good side. I know it's stupid to say they wouldn't be there if they weren't. I expect another tight, that extra time and penalties all day long for me there. I think that could be another draw. Bore draw, but it could be another draw.
Will?
Yeah, I don't know what to expect, really. I'd say Yeah, it could either be another 1-1, or I could see Frankfurt maybe nicking it near the end, just getting a goal and just scraping it like a 2-1 win, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, 1-1 from the first leg. Tottenham poor in the first leg. Again, Tottenham poor at the weekend as well. I can probably either see it, like Mark said, a 0-0 ball draw, or and then try Frankfurt just a 1-0. So I'm probably going to go Frankfurt 1-0 as well. Let's quickly touch on Rangers as well. We probably should. They've done really well to get this far. Played some really good football. Unlucky probably in the first leg because they were dominating the game quite a lot. Will, but what do you expect? Obviously, the final is in Bilbao, so that is giving Atletico Bilbao a bit of a push, let's say. But what do you expect from Rangers versus Bilbao?
Again, I think it kind of depends on the game state. If Bilbao can score early enough, then they could easily run away with it. Or if Rangers just keep it tight, keep on pushing, it's just, especially because it's at Bilbao the second leg, they can keep it tight, get into the second half, just make everyone a bit uneasy. They're definitely the type of team that could scrape through and just knock them out in the end.
Yeah. What do you think, Mark?
It's hard to say. Bilbao, fourth in the league in La Liga. Very good side. You just said the finals there, so this quite literally is the final for Rangers. And Scottish teams, they don't go down without a fight. I can see them fighting, and I'll say if they lose, make sure you take some of their players with them, because that's who we have in the next leg, next round if we go through. So I don't know. I can't see Rangers winning. I can see this Bilbao maybe just 1-0, but for me, they have one of the best keepers in Europe, so I can't see them beating them in Simone.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to agree. I'm probably going to have to say Bilbao are probably just going to score one and just play the game out. So let's go for Bilbao. Lazio, Bodo Glint. Anyone got any opinions on that whatsoever?
How have Bodo Glint got this far? And fair
And
play
to be 2-0 up. Yeah,
absolutely.
Who's winning that quickly from both of you?
Where is it?
Lazio.
And it's 2-0.
2-0 to Bodo Glint.
Extra time penalties.
So you're going 0-0 or a draw?
No, I'm going Lazio win 2-0 at home. Takes it to penalties.
Oh, okay, fair enough. So on the night you're going Lazio. Okay, Will?
I'd probably go a Lazio win because they're at home. Wouldn't really have any clue about either of the teams, but I'd back, even doubt, back a home win, especially when they've got to go for it.
Right. Well, in that case, then we're going so far, depending on our predictions for the last game. All the home teams in the Europa League are going through, depending on our predictions, Mark, for Manchester United versus Lyon. Now, we must stress the most important thing about being away in the first leg is not to lose. And we didn't. And we're also the only team in Europe to still be undefeated. Does that continue on Thursday, Mark?
Nathan, you're literally holding on to anything, mate, now for the moment. For United season, we're undefeated in Europe, against how many absolutely appalling sides.
Hey, it doesn't matter.
I know you got beat who's in front of you. About 6 of them are draws.
Doesn't matter.
I don't know.
You're speaking to an Arsenal fan. Holding on to draws they gave a 2004 season on draws.
12 draws in the season, wasn't it? Or something like that. But it's all right. We went undefeated. United have got to win. I'm sorry. I can't see anything but a United win. And I will take 1-0 off of Rasmus Højlund's arse. But I can see him scoring the winner. I can see it 1-0 and Højlund scoring. That boy don't give up. I will back him until I don't have to, pretty much. Yeah.
We rested a lot of players at the weekend.
Oh, yeah. To play Amos over 2 other potential left-sided players showed that we were resting. We said it, didn't we, on our show? I said like it could be 2-0, it could be 4-0. I wasn't exactly far off. I felt for the keeper. I felt for Bayern. Some part of me goes now, maybe he should have gone for bloody Heaton in goal.
Running out of reserve
just
goalkeepers.
that experience, that more of a let's calm it down.
Yeah.
So,
Will, do you give us any chance of winning Thursday night?
I don't know, because I look at Lyon and I think that they've got a few decent players and I know their tactics are all right. And I think that they have a team that should beat you. But I also think they have tactical flaws that suit United as well in terms of when they're pushing up, that I think you can get in behind and you can beat them. So if you're clinical, I think you'll scrape past them. If you're not clinical, which you haven't been this season, I could see Lyon probably just scraping it past it. But at the same time, I won't be surprised to see this go to penalties.
I don't like the idea of that, although we've been pretty good with penalties this year. Yeah, I mean, it's so difficult to sort of predict where we're going to be at. You know, we rested a lot of players at the weekend, probably fairly in some respects, unfairly, probably like Mark said, the Amas sort of resting of him, playing him over a couple of others. As not to take anything away from Harry Amas, he had a reasonable game, but you know, it's just you don't know how much Ruben is putting into this competition. You know, it's the only opportunity for us to get any sort of European football. Even though I've stressed so many times, I don't care if we get nothing next season, European wise. But Mark, score prediction on the night, please.
So I was just going back over our European matches, and we've won every game at home, I believe, in Europe. And we've beaten teams you wouldn't expect us to beat. Betis, 4-1 against Sociedad. No one had that on the cards. So 2-1.
2-1 United.
2-1 United. Rasmus and Bruno.
And Will, you're saying draw on the night or draw on aggregate? What are you saying?
I'm going to say draw. I'm going to say a 1-1 draw. And I think it'll go down to penalties. And how hilarious of a storyline would it be if the last penalty to decide it would be Matic versus Onana? Not going to say to which side, whether it's to win the game for Onana or to win the game for Matic. But how crazy of a story would that be for either side?
I don't like the idea of that. Especially as I really liked Matic as a player as well. I really did. For United, he was really good. I really enjoyed, that goal against Palace.
I just want to come. I've just seen Keane's thing on the side. Clinical and Rasmus Højlund don't calculate. Rasmus Højlund's one of the most clinical finishers in Europe.
Oh, even
in the European competition. Was it 6 in 5 in the Champions League last year, and I think he's scored in nearly every game that he's played in Europa League this year. It's just the Premier League he's not scoring in.
Yeah, and he's inviting you onto 2K apparently after the Villa game, Will. I think we're all building up to WrestleMania over here, aren't we, King? Really looking forward to that at the weekend. That group chat will be buzzing. Score predictions for me. I'm going to say, just with United's record at home in the Europa League on that, and still being the undefeated team in Europe, I'm going to say it will be a United 2-0 win. I think it will be more comfortable than we think. I think Bruno will be well up for this after his disappointment on Sunday. But
is it Man United 2-0 win, Bruno 2 penalties?
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Or a penalty and a free kick. It's got to be a set piece. Maybe directing from a corner.
Right. So our bet builder, our ACCA. So Aston Villa to win tonight, Barcelona to win tonight, Inter to win tomorrow, Real Madrid to win tomorrow, Frankfurt to win Thursday, Bilbao to win Thursday, Lazio to win Thursday, and United to win Thursday comes up at 145.5 0.4 to 1, which gives us a total overall return of £146.40 to a charity of our choosing, and that is placed. Look, I'll put that there if you can see it. You probably can't see it, but yeah, gamble responsibly, of course. But yeah, that is betted, and we'll put a poll up in our group chat to a charity when it comes in, I'm sure. But yeah, it's 8 o'clock now, so the game is kicking off.
Villa haven't scored yet.
Villa haven't scored yet. But any final words, Mark, on this week's football?
No, I wish all the English clubs the best, because at the end of the day, we want as many English winners in the European competitions. We didn't cover Chelsea, but I'm pretty sure can all agree they've won that competition already.
Oh, I'd completely forgot about them.
No, well, have they even conceded a goal in that tournament?
I have no idea.
Their second 45 players.
I have no idea.
But no, we want them to go through. I think we've secured 5 spots for next year for the Champions League already.
Yeah, Arsenal did that for us, unfortunately.
Yeah, so job done. Let's just keep pushing forward and get those points up for the Premier League, really. And get as many points on the board. I really hope Villa can do it tonight. That's the first one. We can get. Do you play Villa if you win? Is it Arsenal Villa?
If Villa can go through, we go through an Arsenal Aston Villa semi-final. Arsenal v Unai Emery. Come on, PSG. They make me more nervous, but they'll come out and attack us. If Aston Villa get through and play us, they'll sit back, they'll counter-attack, and that kills us.
Yeah. Watkins loves a goal against Villa and Arsenal as well, doesn't he? So.
Yeah, and we said Villa to win tonight. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, but I also said Madrid to win. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, there is Champions League football tomorrow, but Premier League football tomorrow. A very, very quick word on Eddie Howe. Obviously, we found out over the weekend he wasn't going to be able to be at the game against United. Obviously, now it's been Newcastle have released that he was diagnosed with pneumonia, so he's going to miss the next few games for Newcastle. Obviously everyone here wishes him the very, very best in his recovery. And I don't think Newcastle are going to struggle too much because they absolutely dominated us. Jason Tyndall basically just told his boys to go out there and do exactly what Eddie's been telling you to do. So I think Newcastle are going to be very much in the hunt for that Champions League spot. So fingers crossed.
I seriously think that they've nailed that down. I think Liverpool lift the trophy this weekend, don't they? If the results go the other way, it'll be a done deal.
I think if Arsenal lose and they win, I think it's done. Yeah. I think they needed Arsenal to win to take it 2 more games. But
yeah.
Right. Will, any final words on your teams tomorrow night in Madrid?
Nah, just go out there, relish the moment, really. Enjoy it, because these are the big moments that you want as a player, and these are the moments you want as a fan, to go up against big teams, watch them have to come up and create an incredible atmosphere, and then hopefully just watch it burst like a balloon just inside there when something happens. It'd be spectacular. And look, it's the last thing that we can play for, so at least it'll be fun watching that competition. The Premier League's been boring as hell this year. I mean, by the end of this week, odds are relegation's done, Champions done, and the next 4 you'll have a fight for the last Champions League spot. Yeah. At least enjoy some Champions League and European football, and
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Thank you everyone for watching. If you've enjoyed what we've been talking about, please like and subscribe, leave a comment. Let us know what you think. Keep an eye out on our socials. We're probably going to be doing... Jonathan's got a show potentially in the works. We won't say too much, but it might have some special guests on it later this week. There should be another Red Devils Roundup Saturday evening, previewing and reviewing the Europa League game and the Premier League match. And then I will be back next Tuesday on another edition of Talk of the League in whatever format it will be. I have no idea what's happening next Tuesday. We'll probably just do a review of all the Premier League fixtures over the weekend and look ahead to the weekend after that. But thank you very much for watching, and we will see you soon.